share my screen. Now, in the previous lecture,
Sir, can I hear you clearly, sir?
hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Better, sir.
Okay. Now, in the previous lecture, I basically give you the tutorial for triggers. So I want to ask if there is any question about the triggers tutorial. Outside that problem that you faced when you try to log into SQL Server. Is there any other issue or any question about the previous tutorial?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, for today, also it will be a tutorial session. And let's say this I supposed to give it to you earlier when we finish, let's say, auditing, let's say, topic, but I just moved to the security part. Now, what you need to do here is the following. You'll have to answer 4 questions. The first one, you are appointed as an auditor to e-commerce company, okay, called SciTech at El Berhad. At recent meeting with the board of directors, okay, the vulnerability of the company to the fraud was discussed in details. Many of the board members appear to be of the opinion that database activities are the cause of the recent fraud, okay. You have decided to write in detail to the board to review the component of database auditing environment. So here in the company, we have some, let's say, fraud, let's say, case happens, and you think the problems are basically coming from database. So you want to discuss about database auditing environment. Okay. Question number 2. With the advancement of information technology, many cyber security regulations were created. List and briefly explain 3 cyber security regulations. Okay, so I want from you to list 3 cyber security regulations. Number 3, SQL Server Management Studio provides many techniques to facilitate the audit process. List and explain 3 techniques. I have explained one, which is basically using the DML basically triggers, okay, and one part of it we focus on auditing, but also there are other tools. So please at least explain 3 techniques. Question number 4, list 3 third-party auditing tools for SQL Server. You will notice when you do research right now, you notice the following. You notice that there are many tools outside SQL Server, okay, and basically they provide the auditing services. And the reason for that is that SQL Server, the audit tool that I want to show you later in the next lecture, basically, it built in retail is not to some extent details. That means some companies they found okay there is not too much functionalities or they don't generate the reports that I need, so therefore there is other tools were created, you know, as third-party tools. So I want from you to at least list like 3 third-party, let's say, auditing tools for SQL Server. Okay, clear? Any question before we proceed? Okay, so far so good. So I will give you around, let's say, 40 minutes. Then later we discuss about the answers, or maybe let's say 35 minutes. So later we'll discuss about the answers, especially for questions number 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so see you after 35 minutes. For now, I'll mute the mic and also I'll stop share the screen. In case you have any question, you can ask me either using the chat box here or send me a private message. Okay, attention, please. So let's skip question number 1, okay? Let's go for question number 2. List and briefly explain 3 cyber security regulations. So please give me the answers here in the chat box. SOX can be one of them, yes. Already the one that we have covered, SOX and HIPAA is considered to be as your regulations for cybersecurity. But there are more specific, like in the recent years, they were like more specific in different countries. Like for example, in EU, for example, they have also created new regulations because of the internet thing and so on. So they are pushing it further. And in general, for example, in EU, for example, okay, the regulations are more strict maybe in any other country. Like every day they are having new regulations. Even now outside cybersecurity, they now said that they want everyone to use USB-C to reduce the waste of the electrical devices and so on. So they are a little bit strict on these conditions. So what other regulations are there? GBDR can be, yes, one of them. In reality, if you check here for the cybersecurity regulations or acts, there are some on the international level and there are some on each country. Like for example, if you later check on the internet for, let's say, cybersecurity, let's say acts. Okay. Okay, most information means all places can be. Okay. But this is basically toward sharing for multiple information and this one for can be. Okay. By the number of okay, but what is the name of the act? What is the detailed one? Okay. Okay, NIS directives. Okay. Security. Okay. Can this some of them? Then there are others, and also later you can check for Malaysia. Even Malaysia, they don't have really till now, I'll say, strict, let's say, regulation, let's say, cybersecurity acts, but there are some. And now, if I give, it will be like generic. It will be generic. And later you can check for the Malaysia, let's say, regulations, because they are covering something. They have some regulations for the e-commerce, for example. They have regulations for you know, the copyrights and so on. So they have some of these solutions. You can check about this later. Now, okay, let's explain 3 techniques for audit in SQL Server. Basically, we have covered DML, right? Let me just show you here. There is another 2 tools usually we use. Okay, let me just open SQL Server. So the first one we have used is DML commands. Also later, I will go to use the DDL, basically the log and trigger also. It will have one of the auditing components. Also, we have the thing that we'll cover next lecture will be basically when I go for security, I'll go to cover something called audits and something later called server audit specifications. So I'll show you how to create that. There is also another tool, but now Microsoft is moving to remove it. Or in the documentation, they say it is deprecated. That means they are not really like, I don't know, they are in the stage of they want to follow up with it or just simply ignoring it. Nobody knows. But basically, till now it is available, I will say, which is called SQL Server Profiler. And SQL Server Profiler is one of the tools where we can highlight something called, create something called a trace. Then after that, depending on the action that I want to follow up, I can, log all the files. So let me just show you what I mean by that. If I go here and I said go for event selection, and let's assume I want to go for, audit login, maybe no. Let's assume for TCL commands, okay? TCL commands means select, insert, update, and so on, and so on, okay? So I can say here, if I want to go for more details, I can show all the events, okay, which is related to our auditing process, but this is like the basic audits or the basic, let's say, events that we have. So if you want to check everything, you can go check here, then check all the types of audit that you have, or all the information that you want. Okay, for us, we usually focus on the SQL commands. So if I said here, let's say general, I will go to give it a name. So I'll say maybe let's say SQL trace one, for example. Excuse me. Then I will say run. Now, notice here what will happen. This will be like an active logging file because now it is our out SQL server. So I can see that this will be updated while I'm moving in my system. Even I'm using the mouse, right? But basically when I go to open some databases or select information, in reality, internally, SQL Server will do what? Will basically apply TSSQL commands. So for example, here when I go for databases, let's go for Dream Home, for example, okay? Now notice here when I go for Dream Home, it begins to show me the information that means, okay, which database you are accessing and so on, okay? Then also, if I go here, let me just go to show you something clear. Notice here when I go to open for tables, all this information will recorded. Then when I go for something like staff, then right click, then select information. This will be more clear, okay? Because here you will go to check for the statement. So notice here what is happening. 1 minute. Okay, notice here, this is all of these, they are like internal information which is stored by SQL Server, okay? And here you'll select the object. Where is it? I want to search for, let's say, the Dream Home database, or select the information from the staff table. Okay, select all. I need to search. Okay, but the idea here is that when you do any action related to TSQL, either using graphical interface or let's say using SQL commands. So let me just say select all from staff, okay, F5, So notice here, give me the info, let's say the file. Let's say when it started, when it is, let's say, batch completed, and so on. Okay, so you can do, or let's say, you apply this SQL profiler, and then you can get the information. But the issue is that Microsoft now, for some reason, they said they are not supporting it or not. They are moving to deprecate this SQL, let's say, profiler. I don't know what was the reason for that, because it till now didn't provide any tool, I would say. But it is there. Till now, it is there, and developers are using it. By the way, Microsoft sometimes have strange things. Like, for example, at one time, they moved the relational schema. But then developers were like, attacking Microsoft. Then they bring it back to SQL Server. So in one of the versions, I remember we downloaded, this is before a few years ago. When you go here for the database diagram, suddenly it is not there. The first time I thought, oh, there is something, maybe there is a mistake, or maybe there is some error, and so on. Then later, they said officially we removed database diagrams. Then there was a lot of, negative feedback from developers and so on. So they bring it back. Like what happens earlier in Windows, I think 8, at that time, when they removed the start button here. So everyone was, basically objecting, this that process. Circle manual is considered as a technique. I think because of the timing. Okay, no, I'll take it manually right now. Just give me 1 minute. Sir, can we manual editing considered as technique? Usually manual editing is manual editing, right? But here when we discuss about tools, okay, basically we are discussing about the tools that I want to use to extract the data. Yes, I think because of the timing. Let me just take the attendance manually. So can be considered as a technique? Can, but this is like not the thing which is provided by SQL Server. Everyone is doing audit in their life, right? Okay, let's go for the class here. So let me just mention the number to move fast. When I mention the number, just simply say yes here in the, okay. 1.
Here.
Okay, 2. Ahmed Taha. Ahmed Wajdi.
Yes.
Okay, Ahmed Hassan.
Here.
Brenton. Okay. Casey.
Yeah.
Okay. Damian. Damian here. Dennis. Okay. Dennis.
Yes.
Harris.
Here, sir.
Okay. Jason. Okay. Kazi. Kenneth. I think yes, because you mentioned it earlier. Lee. Ligia. Okay.
Sir, I'm the first name, number 1.
Number 1.
Sorry, number 2.
Number 2, okay. 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 YN here?
Yes,
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can I go first? 23. Michael.
23. Okay.
Michael Leonardi Leong.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sign off, yeah.
Okay. 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 Yes, just simply write in the chat box. It will be easier. Okay, Muhammad. Just say yes. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Or here. Okay. Jiva Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Marcus.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Ibrahim. Muhammad Ibrahim.
Yes,
Muhammad Noor here. Okay. Okay.
Here, sir.
Okay. Muzammil. Okay. Anything we? And Raymond, are you there? Just put your number here to make it faster.
28, sir.
28, okay. Just put the number in the chat box so I can just click them directly. Raymond? Okay, 33, 38, 32, 37, 39.
Yaqeen Chalan is here. 35. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Raymond? Raymond, are you here? Okay, so that's all for today. See you next lecture, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.